When I first got on the city council, I was amazed at how cramped and crowded City Hall was, and how cramped and crowded the police station, and how old and outdated all of our technology and the things that we were doing. It was old back then with 14,000 people, and now we have 22,000 and growing. And the community needed new technology, more staff, more inspectors, more police, more everything, just to serve the community in the way that they were used to. This City Hall and police station are a long time coming for the community. It was needed for the staff. It was needed for us to properly serve the community in all the different aspects that we serve them. And it's just something that the citizens could be also proud of as well.
The original City Hall, I don't know what you'd call it the original City Hall, the City Hall that we were in was built in 1976. We had a population of about 2,000 at the time in 1976. So it was a state-of-the-art, very nice facility for our needs at that time. But in the ensuing years, we estimate now that we're at a population of 20,000. And we have meetings all the time with developers from all across the country, the East Coast, the West Coast. And they're coming in, and the first image they get of the city of Altoona was our old City Hall. And it was not saying prosperity.
When we built this building, that was our general premise. We wanted to be able to share information vertically and horizontally amongst all of our divisions, and then we built it around the patrol officer that has to get in the car and go out to work. Everybody else in the police department is in a support role. We all support that one officer getting in that car going out to work. And the entire department we were able to build based off of those premises, those two premises. In the old PD, every detective gets no space. You have no space to bring somebody in and do an interview. You have no space to separate out a victim and a criminal or a suspect, somebody accused of a crime. We're fingerprinting a nurse or a teacher or somebody that does daycare, and at the same time, 2 feet away from them, we have an intoxicated person screaming at their top of the lungs while we're trying to talk to a family that's a victim of a crime. And then they all have to work in that same office space, cramped on top of each other. Can't make phone calls. So you got to go somewhere else to make a phone call because you're not going to be able to make it. Same thing with our lieutenants. They're all crammed into one space.
In our old building, as opposed to this one, we did share it with another organization. So we only had half the offices or thereabouts. We ran out of file cabinet space. We had to start putting files on top of the cabinets in stacks because they would no longer fit in the drawers. Every time if we had a new hire, it was an old doctor's office, so we'd have to remove the sink because there are still sinks in those rooms.
There's a specimen depository, so you could like put your cup and then someone on the other side could get it. It was set up very 90s. The desks were meant for the old deep style computer monitors. We didn't really have the room to put any kind of flat screen or have double monitors there like we do now.
So we had to physically have someone cut our counter so that we could push our screens back.
We didn't have a conference room, and so all of our building department meetings would have to be directly in the front lobby, and so we'd have people coming in interrupting our meetings, and we'd have to pop up and go help them and sit back down, and it just wasn't very conducive to a meeting environment.
My favorite aspects of the building are just the fact that we have more space. When I was over in the old City Hall, I was in a hallway. There wasn't a lot of room to move. Just knowing that we have more space to grow, it just makes you feel a lot better about coming to work every day when you have a space like this. Prior to us moving to New City Hall, the police department had their own network, fire had their own network, library had their own network, City Hall had their own network. The building department had their own file server. They were on our network, but they used their own file server. So part of this whole process was to bring everybody together into one system.
Visually speaking, there's a couple of favorite things I like about the building. And just off the top of it, when I walk into the hallway down the main corridor, and you look out the end of the building, and there's a seating area there. It's a public space. Anybody can come in here and use it. You sit there on the couches, and there's these tall windows that overlook the Altoona campus, the creek, the trees. It's such a beautiful setting and beautiful. I like that spot the most at City Hall. As far as you know, functionality, I like the city council chambers. In our old city council chambers, if you had 40 people there were lots of people standing. I mean, the place was packed full. Our technology was terrible. How we voted, it really was antiquated. Our new council chambers, it's very inviting. You come down the corridor, the two doors open up. There's lots of space for you to seat. The big TVs show you the agenda. It shows exactly what we're talking about. Visually, we can be looking at the TVs as well, so our heads are up. We're looking at the citizens. And so the interaction between the citizens and the elected officials is so much better. The space is better for the things that we do in the council chambers. And also, it's a space that the citizens can come in and use too. If you want to have a meeting and you say, hey, I need a meeting for 30 people, could I use the council chambers? You can come in and do that.
Everything that we built here, the range, the FATs, the classroom, roll call, our war room, our bad day room, whatever you want to call that room, our interview suites was based off of extensive and intense programming. I mean, we sat together every day with the experts for, geez, it seemed like 3 months to come up with what is it that this place will look like by 2035? What is this city going to look like, and what do we have in here? So if you look at the range today, 50 yards, 12 lanes. We're a 30-person police department. Most people would say to you, wow, that's overbuilt. I can't believe that you spent that kind of money. Well, in 2035, when this is a 60,000 population and there's 120 officers, that chief is going to be saying this. Why did they only build 12 lanes? Why didn't they build 20 lanes? Why didn't they build 25 lanes? Because they lose efficiency on how they're able to run through these things. Classroom. Most classes, if you want to bring them in, you got to be able to seat 50 plus people. If you can't, they're not coming to this place to do the class. So we made sure that our classroom was going to allow us to bring the training to us. Other agencies will come to us. Fitness is probably the best pill that you can take to help you with depression, to help you with stress, to help you get a good night's sleep, which is what we want, all those types of things. Fitness is the answer to it. And we got them a nice place, and nicely, since we've been in, it's used. Our equipment, the indoor garage, when I got here, we're losing about half of our computers at half the life. Those are expensive. They're $5,500 a computer. A lot of that has to do with it's Iowa. Our weather, you go from hot to cold. A lot of people, we get asked this a lot. Why do you leave your cars run? That costs money. It's pennies for the gas. It's tens of thousands of dollars to replace that equipment inside of a car.
Just the amount of space that we have, you know, we would have never been able to fit this data center in our old building. It did not have the proper cooling. It did not have the proper fire extinguishing. Electrical, it wouldn't have supported all the voltage going into those new servers and switches. So without this building, we wouldn't have that kind of infrastructure.
It's a lot better set up for meetings. We have multiple conference rooms here. We have a testing room for homeowners' electrical exams or for consults if someone's coming in and has questions about their deck or what they can build on their land. We have a room just for consults with that. We have a super awesome TV behind us that we can pull up aerials and show people where their easements are.
We also have double monitors now, where we didn't before, and the screen behind us will really help, because we used to try to have to turn our single monitor and it wouldn't go very far. People are trying to lean over the desk to see what we're trying to show them, and this is going to be so much more convenient.
I think when you pull up the curb appeal of this new facility, it's very attractive. It says Altoona is a community that is growing, successful. There's economic development opportunities here. It's a good place to raise your family. It's a good place to just live, work, and play here in Altoona.